It's a curious feature of modern British political life that when an institution commits a gross injustice, it doesn't simply apologise, make amends, or move forward. No. First, it obfuscates, it delays, it sets up inquiries, offers half-baked compensation schemes, it mixes up the word compensation with restitution, with repaying the money that it stole. It mixes up compensation with the idea of an apology, so that the people who are receiving some form of compensation actually are left in a position of practically begging for the money which is theirs and for the apology which is theirs by rights known only after years, decades even. You only have to look at the infected blood issue. When the victims are exhausted, bankrupted, or dead, does it issue a begrudging apology wrapped up in legalese? The Post Office Horizon scandal is a textbook example of this national pathology. And few cases exemplify this better than that of Lee Castleton, a former sub-postmaster who, through no fault of his own, found himself financially and professionally annihilated by a system that was more interested in preserving its own reputation than in delivering justice. Mr. Castleton was made bankrupt in 2007 after the Post Office sued him over an alleged £25,000 shortfall that was in reality the fault of its own defective Horizon IT system. Unlike other sub-postmasters who were criminally prosecuted, Castleton faced civil action, meaning his case was not subject to the overturned convictions that have now given others a path to restitution. His legal battle became a warning shot, an institutional attempt to make an example of a man who dared to challenge authority. To recap, when his post office branch in Bridlington showed financial discrepancies because of Horizon's failure, Castleton did what any responsible person would do. He raised the alarm. He called the helpline 91 times. Instead of addressing the software's errors, the post office sued him, knowing full well he lacked the resources to fight back. The result? A civil judgment against him that has never been overturned, despite the fact that the entire basis of that judgment, the Horizon system, has now been proven fraudulent. Now, after nearly 2 decades of being treated as a pariah, Mr. Castleton has taken the bold step of suing the post office and Fujitsu directly. His case is not just about personal vindication, it's a stand against the glacial and insulting compensation process, which has thus far failed to deliver anything resembling justice. The government has set aside $1.8 billion in compensation funds, yet significant delays persist. Bureaucratic entanglements and ever-changing criteria ensure that payments are dribbled out in the manner that smacks of damage limitation rather than genuine redress. Castleton's move to the High Court is significant because it forces the issue into the open, where the Post Office and Fujitsu can no longer hide behind prepared statements and vague assurances of commitment to closure. It's also a warning to those who prefer this scandal to fade into the background. The victims have not forgotten, and neither should we. It raises the broader issue of institutional accountability, or more precisely the lack of institutional accountability. The scandal is not just about a faulty IT system, it's about corporate mendacity, government complicity, and a justice system that favours the powerful over the powerless. Fujitsu, whose Horizon software was at the centre of this catastrophe, has largely evaded responsibility, and the Post Office, for its part, has dragged its feet at every stage, prioritising its own survival over the fate of the people it destroyed. The standard playbook in these situations is clear: delay, deny, and when absolutely necessary, deliver compensation so meagre, so slow that it barely registers as accountability. But as Alan Bates, the indefatigable leader of the sub-postmasters campaign, Sir Alan Bates, has made clear, this time the victims will not simply wait for handouts on the government's terms. If the compensation process remains so sluggish and so evasive, the courts become the only route left. And the question I think everyone must ask themselves is this: why, in a supposedly modern democracy, does it take individual victims already devastated by the system to fight so hard for the justice that should be theirs and that has already been established? Why are those responsible, executive, ministers, software developers, fake priests, not held to account in a way that matches the gravity of their crimes? And why is it always the victims who must bear the cost of proving their innocence? As Lee Castleton prepares for his long overdue day in court, one can only wish him well. His struggle is not just his own, it's emblematic of a system that consistently fails those that it should protect. If sanity and decency prevail, his case will be the beginning of a reckoning, not just for the post office, but for every institution that believes it can ruin lives and walk away unscathed.